Okay, we are, well, I intended to video the rear cover, front cover install, but honestly, it was hot. I wanted to get it done. It was swinging on the hoist for the rear cover. Basically what I did was I put the oil pan on with the gasket, and I kind of finger tightened a few bolts, and then I put the bell housing on the back, tightened that up, pulled the oil pan flush against the bell housing because that gave me my alignment to the back of the block. Then I tightened up my pan bolts, took the bell housing off, slid the rear cover on. I'm fairly certain that I was able to get it lined up properly that way. When I put the bolts through the pan into the rear cover, it's not going to pull it down and misalign it. It's already where it's going to end up. And I did the same thing with the front. I just used the pan bolts, the front cover interface to kind of pull it down and get it where I need it. And then I measured all the way around the seal here, and it seems to be pretty centered. I don't know. I know there's all kinds of fancy tools you can get to do that. Not even fancy, but you know, if the seal leaks, then I can only kick myself. So I decided that I'm going to put this balancer on because why not? There's really no reason not to, and it's one of the things that I'm kind of not really sure how it's going to go anyway. So we're going to try it. I already had it on partially just to get an idea of how the seal was looking. So I told everyone earlier about the tool that I made for putting the balancer on, and here it is. It's M16 by 2 threaded rod. I think it's about 9.5 inches long. I had to get a meter of it, so if this works well, I'm actually going to go buy some more parts, a couple nuts and some of these big washers, and I have this thick-walled tubing laying around. And I'm probably going to cut the remaining rod up into a few pieces and sell them to some, you know, anybody that wants them for not much more than I spent on it. I don't need the M16 rod laying around, and that way somebody else doesn't have to go buy it if they don't want to spend big bucks. So I welded the nut on the end. It's not going anywhere. I'm going to go ahead and put some grease between all these washers. And actually, I think this is an ASP underdrive pulley, and these are M16 fender washers from like Ace Hardware. And there's a recess in here, and these actually fit almost like perfect. I mean, it's kind of funny how they fit in there so well. It's almost like it was meant. So let's see, let me get lined back up here. I'm also not entirely sure how this is gonna work camera-wise. There you go, pardon me. And give me a second to put some grease on this thing. Alright, lots of anise on there. She's not gonna gall on me. Let's see what happens. Let me make sure we're in frame here. So we'll thread the tool in. Not really sure how tight to make this. I know that I've got great thread engagement because I'm threading for a while by hand, and then it kind of bottoms out. So maybe I'll give it a little tweak. And then push everything down and run this nut down. I'm not really sure how I'm supposed to tell when to stop using the tool. Everybody uses the term to seat the thing, so I don't exactly know what that means in terms of how long I should crank on it, but we're gonna see. Maybe it'll just stop. Gonna have to get another wrench to hold that. Okay, I got a wrench here. This is, I'm using a 15/16. Obviously it's supposed to be metric, but since I don't have one, this is gonna have to do. Working all right. And it's still going. Not sure how hard this is supposed to be. Hope I'm not totally destroying my crank snout on the way in. That would be absolutely horrible. Something horrible happened right now. I don't know what I'd do. You'd probably see like a Class A meltdown. I mean, it's not taking a whole lot of force. I guess you don't want it to go on there like all loosey-goosey, because then would be holding it on at that point. Alright. I might take this tool out and see what it looks like. It's getting kind of like scary tight. Make sure the threads aren't completely falling apart or something ridiculous. Oops, that was probably loud. Sorry about that. Well, I don't see any like shavings or ugliness going on. I know there's a spec for the how far the snout goes, so let's go a little further. I know I'm not tightening it to 250 foot-pounds with that wrench, which I know is what it's got to be, so we will tell you what, instead of boring you with that, I'm gonna turn off the video, crank it, and then maybe we'll be back for the final tour. Alright, it really only took about maybe 1.5 more cranks with that wrench, and then it stopped. I felt it stop, and I just did a depth measurement from the pulley to the snout, and I took a couple different spots because who knows, but it's coming up at about you can see that like 130-ish, and the spec is between 0.094 and 0.176, so I would say that's pretty good. I'm gonna go ahead and get the new crank bolt, because I have an ARP crank bolt somewhere right here, and I'm going to install this sucker. I'm assuming I'm supposed to use that one.